Hi, it's Victoria McCooey from Victoria McCooey Coaching. And today I'm talking about how domestic abuse can severely diminish your self-esteem. I mean, it makes sense, right? How could it not? And I'm talking about domestic abuse not just in terms of physical abuse, although that is one type, but it doesn't have to be physical. There's so many different types of domestic abuse or abuse in marriage, such as verbal abuse. So that can be name calling or and not just cursing at you, but calling you fat, calling you ugly, calling you bony, any kind of insult, right? And then when you get upset at the insult, what are you told? Oh, I was only joking. You take things so seriously, and it's your fault, no matter what, right? It's your fault. Like even in being called names, you're going to be blamed for taking things too seriously. So this is what these narcissistic people do. Everything will be your fault. So the other extreme in verbal abuse is not speaking to you at all. Have you ever gotten the silent treatment? I mean, it can drive you crazy. It's like something a child would do, and they're very childish, very immature in a lot of ways, like a toddler with a temper tantrum. So if they're not calling you names or cursing at you, they've decided not to speak to you at all. And you have to communicate, and it can drive you crazy. I mean, all of these tactics are always in an effort to keep you off balance or make you crazy or feel like you're going crazy. All right, so that's verbal abuse. So what about emotional abuse? Like withholding affection, just like not wanting to even touch you at all, or kiss you or hold your hand or anything, just withholding all physical touching. Or how about this? Expect you to put everything aside to meet his needs. Your needs don't matter at all, and you don't love him if you're not willing to drop everything to suit his immediate needs in that moment, right? Well, if you loved me, or you must not love me if you're not willing to put me before you, whereas they will never, ever put themselves ahead of you, that your needs ahead of them. Um, oh, you have to have the same opinion. What if you have a different opinion about something? Well, that's not allowed because you have to be on board with whatever he thinks. And then, of course, jealousy. They'll use jealousy at first. It might be flattering, like, "Oh, I got so jealous when you were talking to that guy," and you think, "Oh, well, that's flattering." But then it becomes really a serious thing. Like you're not allowed to talk to anyone without him getting really upset that that you're making him jealous, or that you're instigating something, or you're doing something wrong, and it could really blur boundaries and make you really question what's normal. Are you not allowed to have a conversation with a person who's a male? I mean, that's crazy. And then psychological abuse. Narcissists will really love this one. It's their favorite. They use psychological tricks to minimize you, to make you feel less than, not good enough. This is very closely tied in with how your self esteem gets diminished, right? They will say, "You don't know what you're talking about," or tell you that something didn't happen the way you remember it, make you think that you're losing a grip on reality, deny conversations that happened, deny things that happened, and say it, just be adamant, so adamant that you start doubting whether you're remembering it right because they're so sure. And this is a tactic just to make you doubt your reality, to make you think you're going crazy. Um, my all time least favorite, word salad. This is what we call it when you get into a discussion that turns into an argument when it really shouldn't. It could just be a conversation, and all of a sudden things are being brought in that have nothing to do with the topic, and you're getting blamed for things and reminded of all your inadequacies and things that you might have done years ago that he's throwing into the pile just to confuse the whole conversation. And it just goes spinning around out of control in circles, right? This will make you crazy. And I love that name word salad. It's just like he tosses in anything he can think of and make it seem like it's a cohesive argument when it actually nothing is tied together. So you're going, wait, what does that have to do with this? And you're trying to make the connection because you're a normal, rational person trying to make the connection between what he's talking about and what the topic was. And so you're like, wait, 5 steps behind, still trying to catch up. And you can't, there is no rational connection. So you're off balance the whole time, and you makes you feel crazy. It absolutely makes you feel crazy. Okay, so of course, physical abuse definitely diminishes your self-esteem. And yes, that can be hitting, choking, biting, pushing, but it's not just physical abuse against you. It's like throwing things, hitting things, smashing things, breaking things. That's all physical abuse. It's just like intimidation, right? Oh, the intimidating looks, like threatening looks, that body language where you're intimidated because he's not touching you, he's not hurting you, but he is making you think that he's about to. That is physical violence. Um, yeah, they prey on women whose self-esteem is already marginalized, right? So if you're a really powerful, domineering type woman, chances are they know they have no shot, right? If you're already in a place where you're questioning your own self-esteem, you're the target. I mean, this is what they're looking for, and they'll feed off of that and deepen that and make it worse. And hey, I'm not judging. I mean, I was a victim of domestic abuse, all of these different types of abuse, and yeah, I was marginalized. I was isolated. I had moved far away from my family and my friends. I was working at a job that I was a consultant, so I didn't have a steady group of people that I was with every day. It changed all the time. I didn't have a lot of connection, and it made me an easy target. I was really already not on solid ground. So I think whether they realize it or not, their radar goes out, right? Their radar picks up on that. And even if it's not premeditated, I mean, who's to say? I think they're just wired that way, where they pick up on that and think, okay, here's someone that I can control, whether they're realizing it or if it's just subliminal in their mind. You're the target because you're somebody that they think they might be able to control. So that's always the point of all of this, right? Is to control you. But so what do you do? What do you do when you're in one of these situations? Well, first of all, I'm here to tell you that you can't change them. They can't change themselves. They don't want to be changed. They think they're perfect. So there is no drug, there is no therapy to cure narcissism. So what you need to do is get out of this relationship. But I know you don't know right away if it's doomed and if all this is really true or really what he is, and you want to believe that it isn't what I'm telling you. But sooner or later, and I hope sooner rather than later, you'll see that you can't change any of this. So when you get to that point where you realize this is a problem, and you need to make some changes, the first thing you need to do, obviously, is set some boundaries, which you should have done from the beginning. But you being you and me being me, I mean, we were just trying to please this person because, part of you thinks, oh, wow, this person, really likes me, and I feel flawed. So I don't want them to know that I'm flawed, because then they might not like me as much. And so you're hesitant to set boundaries. But now that you're educated about narcissism and you know all these things that we're talking about, you need to set boundaries. And what does that look like? So when they're doing some of these tactics, you have to say things like, I will not continue this conversation. I will not continue this conversation, and walk away. Now that doesn't go over very well, but you have to draw the line in the sand. If they're going to respect it, there it is for them to respect. And if not, you know that they're not. But it's going to take you drawing that line to figure out what they're going to do with that new information that here's the line. All right, or you can say, stop doing whatever, or I will walk out of the room, or I will leave and go visit a friend, or I will leave the house. So if you don't ever draw the line, make the boundaries, you don't know what they're going to do and then how you'll react. Now, once the boundaries are in place, and they disrespect boundaries, now you've got some big issues. You've got some big decisions to make about how you're going to proceed. But you have more information now. You have the information that he is not going to respect those boundaries, even when you verbalize them very, very clearly. So here's something that I have thought of that, of course, I didn't know all this when I was going through mine. But now that I'm so educated around narcissism and I have so much information, I've talked to so many different people, different experts, different women suffering in abusive marriages, I wonder how this would work. I think it might be interesting if you were in the middle on the receiving end of some type of this abuse. Say this word salad, this crazy argument where they're just like throwing in everything, including the kitchen sink, when it has nothing to do with the issue at hand. What if you were to say, oh, this is called word salad, what you're doing. It's so interesting. This is a tactic that most narcissists use. So, wow, I've never realized that's exactly what this is. It's really interesting, and walk away. Now, I don't know. It might enrage them, but I think it might give you the upper hand. I'm wondering how that would work. I'm really curious to see how a narcissist would react to that, or if they're giving you that intimidating physical, like, I'm going to hurt you if you don't. What if you said, oh, right, so this is a tactic, this intimidation technique where you make me fearful of being hurt. Wow, okay, that's a typical trait. That's interesting. That's so interesting. And walk away. I don't know. I think it's worth a try, right? Because, like I said, what you're doing isn't working. And just drawing the line in the sand, I don't know. I don't know if that'll work either. Anyway, my point is, they're never going to change. So when you get to the stage where you know that this is who they are, and this is what is going to continue happening for the rest of your relationship, it's time to end the relationship. So that's where I come in. This is what I do. I coach women who are in these situations, who are in abusive marriages with narcissistic men who need to get out. And maybe you're not sure how you're going to get out, or if most women have a lot of fear around getting out. That's how I help. through my coaching. My program is called Reclaim Your Power. So we're talking about all the different ways you might take back that power that you've given away or has been taken from you over the course of your relationship. So also I help you get through the divorce process once you decide that that's the right path for you. So if you would like to find out more information about how to work with me, or if you know someone who's in this situation, first of all, I hope you'll share this video, give them my information so they can watch more videos from me. And then when you're ready, you can schedule a free call with me. That's how this whole thing starts, with a free call. So I'll put a link in this video in the notes where you can go right to my calendar. You don't have to go through anyone. You just go right to my calendar, book a time that works for you, and during that call, I'll ask you about what's going on. We'll talk about your situation, and then I will be completely transparent. I'm going to tell you if I'm the person to help you or not, if I can make a difference, if I'm the right person. And if I think we're a good fit, if I know you're ready to make some changes, and if I think I'm the right person to help you, then we'll talk about the different ways I work with my client. And that's how we get started. All right. So I hope this helped. I hope this opened your eyes to what might be going on in your own marriage. And I hope at some point you went, oh my God, does she have a camera in my house? Like, that's exactly what's going on. So I hope there was a moment like that where you were like, yep, this is exactly what it is. This is spot on what's going on. All right. Then I hope you'll reach out. All right. I'll talk to you soon.